Oh, one too many clicks. What's going on, everybody? Thanks for tuning in. We have our handsome friend Dave.
How we doing?
Here. How you doing, Dave?
I've been doing well.
Yeah.
Corey, I'd like to thank you for having me on today. It's a pleasure to be here and talk about the rally season. As I do at the beginning of every driver's meeting and every rally meet, there are some people that I really like to thank for helping grow this group. Of course, Tom, who has helped me tremendously. Bert, Greg, Jason, the Fields Hobby crew, of course. Beyond that, of course, my family. But I would also like to take a moment to thank Susan.
Can you read Mike's thing, or is that too small for you?
Maybe just a little bit bigger on the text.
How about that?
There we go.
There we are. Okay, just to let everybody know, he's blind, even though he's got 4 eyes. So we got to keep jumping the screen for him to be able to read.
How we doing, Mike? But I'd like to also thank Susan, Jess, and Sean. Without their support, without any of your support, none of this would ever happen. We've come a long way. This is our third season, the start of our third season, and we're now over 250 members.
I was going to say,
it's pretty amazing.
Every year it seems to get bigger and bigger, which is perfectly fine.
Well, I think every season we learn more.
Yes.
And we look less like idiots. We still look like idiots, but we look less like idiots.
We look like better idiots.
We look like better idiots. This is true. This is true. I mean, we've come. When we started this thing, it's kind of funny. This was an idea. I've always loved rally. I always loved the cars mostly. I mean, it's always been about the rally cars. But a couple of years ago, I believe it was Matt Reynolds who came into the shop and said, I wish there was a rally group in Western New York, and that got me to thinking. And I talked to Tom, and next thing I know, I'm curating a rally group. And when we started this thing, I mean, the idea has always been grassroots, have fun.
Which really what it should be, you know?
Right. But
I mean, every no matter where you go, what you do, I mean, it's RC cars. I mean, there should be no drama. Everybody should get along, have fun. I mean, because that's what we're all out to do anyway. So
because at the bottom line, and I don't care if you're at the club level, if you're at the professional level, or you're at where we are, which is way less than professional.
I was waiting for that.
Which is way less than professional. It's toy cars.
Yeah.
The bottom line is it's toy cars, and
to be honest with you, it's not like there's millions of dollars on the line where you have to sit there and go out and kind of hustle and have a whole race team behind you doing. I mean,
I have a race team behind me, but it's just my family. DSK Motorsports. I thought I'd just give that a plug.
Well, why are they behind you? You're a terrible driver.
Well, this is true. This is very true. I used to be fast, but now I'm only half
Just
fast.
to let you know, they're taking applications.
Yes, taking applications for better drivers and better builders. But anyway, no, but seriously, we started this. For me, it was an idea to grow the community, just to give the community another option. We do have an excellent RC community out there. A lot of very helpful people, a lot of great people. Big.
And it grew since the old 2000 COVID drama.
Yes.
And I cannot believe how I think we got in the last couple of years over 200 something members for the Reckless RC. Obviously, you said yours grew too.
Right.
And that's the thing. I mean, it seemed to go crazy, and it doesn't seem to be slowing down.
No, not at all. I think COVID. Go ahead.
Oh, the economy went in a slump, and RC cars went through the roof.
Everybody's still got to have their hobby.
Yes.
I think COVID changed a lot for people. I mean, I know it did for me because prior to COVID, I was all about club racing, and that's really all I did was club racing. Everything I owned, with the exception of a few crawlers here and there, was in some way based on club racing. And when COVID hit, that all shut down, and it changed what I was into. It got me more into crawling. It got me in, many of you that know me know I'm big on the vintage stuff.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of the Cube Show reproductions. I've done restorations on, Wild Willie's, Losi cars, you name it. So it changed a lot. And this, was to give the community another avenue to explore RC. we started very grassroots. Our first event was at Tom's, and I think we were assigning people to count laps, just lap 1, 2, and the first person to 10 laps wins the race. And then we got a little more fancy. We got those cool little clickers.
Yep.
And we expanded to different locations, mainly throughout the South Towns. We've done Boston Town Park, we've done Chestnut Ridge. Of course, there was a few events at the back, behind Tom's, and then last winter we did the events inside.
Yep.
This is now our third year,
which were a blast.
Oh yeah,
the course was so tight turned. So you really had to pay attention.
And what I find
stupid Josh Murphy.
and that's what I find interesting.
Him and Ed.
Yeah, exactly. Him and Ed will go back and forth, and you're going to see a lot more battles like that this year. I mean, there's been a lot of back and forth talk with particularly Greg and Bert. Bert says he's coming for Greg this year, so Greg, watch out. Me again, as I said, I used to be fast, but now I'm just half-assed. But anyway, it's true.
Oh, hey Dave,
how you doing, Corey?
Nice to be here.
I came here about 20 minutes ago. But anyway, we at the end of last year we did institute a timing system, which I think we're still learning with that, and we have. And I'll talk a little bit more about the timing system and where it came from and how it came to be a part of our group. We had to learn that, even though I had worked with it and had seen it work for 10 years. When we got it, we started learning new stuff, and there's more stuff we can do, and you're going to see more stuff.
Well, it's a learning, just like anything else. It's a learning curve because you think about it. I mean, depending on if you do a points race or if you do a lap counted race, I mean, it's probably going to change the way you operate.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Exactly. So you got to learn both ways,
right.
And where some people are dedicated to this kind of track setup and some you want to do both. I mean, obviously it's a learning curve for.
Well, not only that, it has opened up a lot more to us. Like when we started, we were doing 1v1 races.
Right.
Because, we had the clickers and it was a lot easier to determine, when you just got 2 people running, it's a lot easier to keep
when you got
count.
4 on the track.
When you got 4 or 5, people lose their place.
Yes.
But now we're able to do, last year we had one race with 10 drivers in it. And
no kidding.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We had one race with 10 drivers in it.
Stupid working all the time. Do nothing
seriously. And, with the timing system and the transponders, which again, I'll get into a little bit later, we are able to keep track of those, and then we're able to upload that information and put it right to the Facebook page. So it's going to make things easier. Like if we do a point system, or if we do something like that, it is going to make things a lot easier.
Correct.
And again, I mentioned Facebook. We are on Facebook, WNYRC Rally Rebels.
If you guys actually look in the description of this video, the link is in there. So if for some reason you guys get lost during this 70-page
dissertation that I had written twice. Actually.
I don't know why there's lawyer information in here too. I think you scared them with
legal protocol. Yes. You have the right to no. But anyway, it's all on our Facebook page, and everything you're going to hear today is up on that page. And our first event is coming up real soon, even though it may not seem like it with the way the weather's been. The warmer weather's going to be here fast and furious, and we want to be ready. So, and another thing that I was going to mention before, when you talked about Tom's indoor track, it has changed a lot of people's perspective on what it's like to be on a track.
Oh yeah.
People are thinking, oh, it's all about speed. I want to go fast. Well, when you're on a closed circuit,
it's driving. Knowing your car.
It's knowing your car. It's driving.
I forgot who was on with me the one time where we were talking about that. It's how you maneuver your car. Like a lot of people were saying with me with crawling.
Yeah.
The last few videos downtown. Your driving ability is kind of crazy. Like I'm used to going slow, so my driving ability to somebody with a TRX4 going 900 miles an hour is going to be completely different.
Exactly.
So somebody that's used to going in a straight line and not maneuvering the vehicle, not knowing their vehicle, obviously it's going to change.
For sure. So with that, let's get into a little bit about the classes, because I know there's a lot of questions out there. Still a lot of questions. A lot of people approach me on a daily basis at the shop, Fields Hobby.
Way to go. Nice plug.
Got to get it in there. But a lot of people approach me.
Put that sticker
there.
Right
You
there.
Put that right there.
That sticker right there.
That sticker right there. What can I run? what's, what are the classes? What are you guys running? And one of the things that I learned over the years in all my years of club racing is that too many rules kill tracks, and they kill groups, and they kill classes.
Because it kills the fun.
It kills the fun.
You know?
So what I had done with this is I tried to keep the rules to a minimum. So in front of me, what you're seeing right here, this is basically what I would class as a 10th scale touring car style chassis. And that's
also known as an RC car.
Also known as an RC car. Our two primary classes are Group A and Group B. Now, I chose those names because those are rally-based names. Group B, as you know, in the 80s was the monsters.
Right.
It was the crazy fast, minimal rules cars that, tore up rally courses for most of the 80s. And then after they slowed everything down, Group A was more the norm. But we start with Group A. That's our first class. Now, Group A is a brushed class. So that's any brushed motor, any brushed ESC. Any four-wheel drive or two-wheel drive touring car style chassis. Now, this is an XV01 from Tamiya. Pop the body off real quick so you can see what's going on under the hood.
So we can do that too. That'll be
cool.
easy.
So this is an XV01 from Tamiya. And this is, again, not the only car that will that can be a part of this class. This is four-wheel drive. Again, as I said, two-wheel drive is allowed as well. This is although you can't see it, it is a front-motored brushed car. This happens to have a Tamiya Sport Tune motor in it, 23 turn, I believe. Underneath, this is a sealed car, sealed belt-driven car. There's a 1080 speed control. I run a Spectrum DX5C radio. Any motor, any speed control.
It's only got the best of the best in it because Dave works at Fields and he gets discounts.
That's it.
So he's a cheater.
Yeah, so I'm a cheater. Beyond that, I've added a little extension there for hooking up our transponders, which I have one. I'll show you when I get to the Group B car. 2S LiPo max. No, nothing more than 2S. You can run nickel metal hydride. I know there's a few guys out there that are not comfortable with the LiPos. And that's fine. That's fine.
Let me ask you this.
Yes.
Just in case, because I know not everybody is tuning in.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think there is a performance difference between the LiPo and the nickel metal? Obviously, most of the time, yes.
Yes.
But, I mean...
I think more of the performance difference can be seen with the Group B class, the brushless class. You might get a little bit more initial punch with a two-cell LiPo, but I think where the LiPos give you the advantage is as a nickel metal goes through its power curve, it slowly drops off.
Right.
Whereas a LiPo stays at almost peak performance until you hit cutoff.
Yep.
So where you might see a performance drop off is in those longer races. You get to the end of a race, somebody who's running a nickel metal versus somebody who's running a LiPo, you might start to see that car drop off a little more.
Right.
But
I figured that's why I asked that question before it was...
Yeah, exactly. And I appreciate that. Well thought of. You're thinking things through. The other important thing here is I don't care if they look like rally cars, but with Group A, and this is also true to Group B,
should kind of give that look, right?
Right. The body should cover the wheels.
Okay.
So it should be a full-bodied car. Again, I don't care what body style you use. I've seen Camaros out there. I've seen, you're going to see a Corvette running next year. You're going to see a '69 Corvette. Jess is going to be piloting a Corvette next year.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Or this year, next year, this year. I'm all confused. But yeah, the body must cover the wheels in the Group A as well as the Group B class. Any brush motor, any ESC. So again, not a lot of rules, but
no, does it have to be a certain turn motor?
No,
Okay.
That's another thing. I do not have a limit to the turns. Again, the idea is what you've got.
Right.
A lot of people might have 27 turn motors laying around, or you buy a Tamiya kit, they give you a torque tuned motor. Use that. They give you a speed control. They give you a 1060 when you buy the TTO2 kit.
Yep.
So use that. And again, as I said, any 200 to 190 millimeter touring car, that includes the Tamiya TTO2s, TTO1s, Traxxas what is it, Fortec 2.0?
Yep.
XVO1, Tamiya's new XVO2.
What would the Kyosho be?
Kyosho Phaser.
Yes.
That comes, that comes.
Yeah, I didn't know if that was the same class or was that okay.
Absolutely. That comes both brushed and brushless. And, I don't want anybody to have to go out and buy, if they buy a kit, I don't want anybody to go out
and run my 57 Chevy.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, you can run your 57.
I need another one because I was having a blast running that 2-wheel drive.
Oh, nice. I don't want anybody else to go out and have to buy another motor. Use what the kits come with.
Yeah, that's what I figured I'd ask because I know some people are probably, well, I mean, if you got a 35 turn and, somebody's running a 27 turn, but they think it's fair. Obviously, it depends on your driving ability too, so you might have somebody that does amazing with 35 turn and somebody that does horrible with a 27 turn because obviously the speed's going to be a little different.
Right. And traditionally brushed racing motors, back when I was running brushed motors in the 90s, again, when I was club racing, it was, 23 turn was modified or was 23 turn to 27 turn was considered stock. And anything lower than that was considered modified.
Gotcha.
But again, the majority of the racing motors that you're going to be comfortable with is going to be anything 27 turn and below.
Yeah. Yep.
You get up over 27 turn, you're more into the crawler motors. You're more into the crawler motors and stuff like that. So I would say anything from, on the courses we run, I don't think you need to go lower than 23 turn. A lot of guys are running those Holmes Hobby 15 turn motors, $16, which are great. Brushed motors are cheap. They're cheap. Yeah.
That's the best part. Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't cost you $1 million if it burns something up.
Exactly. Exactly. You can replace the motor for, at most, I think some of the Tamiya motors go for like $25.
That's why 90% of my crawlers are still brushed.
Yeah. Exactly.
Because on the side of the trail, I don't have to worry about putting in another brushless motor. I already have a brush motor to the side.
Exactly. Drop it in and go. 2-wire, easy, no sensor wire to worry about. None of that. Just drop it in, go. So that pretty much will be, and again, Group A, any 4-wheel or 2-wheel drive touring car style chassis. Now, we're going to get into a class in a little bit that might create a little bit of a gray area. There are some M chassis out there from Tamiya, the MF01X, which is the buggy or the Volkswagen Beetle they have. They have that Ford Escort.
Seems like I see a few people with those.
Yes. Now. Those 4-wheel drive MF01Xs are going to fit into Group A or Group B.
Gotcha.
And you're going to see why in a minute, because there is another class that we have to talk about a little bit. Unfortunately, I didn't bring an example of that one because none of them were ready. That's on me.
Why were you yelling at me?
I'm yelling at me. I'm yelling at myself. I'm yelling at myself for being a schlub and not getting those ready.
You guys heard that. I didn't say it.
No. Corey did not say it. I am my own worst enemy, folks. Okay, so moving on to the next class, which is the Monsters, Group B. Now, this is brushless. Now, again, with that being said, we're at the 4-wheel drive and 2-wheel drive touring car style chassis. And this one here, I'm going to have a collection of body clips on the table by the time I'm done.
That's all right. If you want to leave them, I can use them for something.
I need them.
Oh. You work at Fields. You'll be fine.
Well, this is true. This is, again, true.
And this is why I'm telling you guys now he's a cheater.
Hey, well,
guy works at Fields and he gets deals on stuff and he tells you what to run and then he goes the opposite.
When someone calls me a cheater, I often quote the great Jesse the Body Ventura. I'm a wrestling fan. I say, win if you can, lose if you must, but always cheat. But anyway, this is a TTO2 from Tamiya. Now, what you see here on top of it, these covers were from Camtech. Josh Murphy did some wonderful work our first year to get us these dust covers from Camtech overseas. I believe in the interim, since this has all happened, Tamiya has begun to make their own. I use them. They're great. They keep the dirt out. They're not necessary. They just pretty much Velcro on the car. But again, this is my TTO2 brushed car. This is the car that Jess drove last year. She had never driven an RC car before.
Is that
Army
where
grade one.
is that where all the damage came from?
No, that's my own damage. That's my own scuffing. She did incredibly well with this car. And this has, I believe, a 10.5 track power brushless motor. This has a track power M1. In my opinion, some of the best brushless speed controls ever made. Unfortunately, they discontinued them when Great Plains went out of business because it was a Great Plains company.
Rick James from the grave. Rick James just came up and said, "I concur."
I concur. Yes.
Yes.
Rick James. Yes. That's a little scary, but
yeah.
anyway,
But just keep your feet off my couch, Rick James.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, just damn Bert.
How we doing, Bert? Thank you for joining us. But anyway, now the one thing I wanted to mention, because you're seeing here, some of you that are familiar with the TT02s, you may be seeing a few things on here that you're like, wait a minute, that didn't come in the kit. I don't have any problem with any upgrades you put on the car. There are no rules in terms of upgrades. Bearings, axles. This has the steel axle, steel center drive shaft from Tamiya. This has a carbon fiber top brace. I believe that's NHK, which is it's the same thing with the carbon fiber battery strap. I have the oil fill shocks in here. They're just the simple Tamiya Super Minis. Any upgrades that you want, again, I'm not going to limit that. You do you. You do what you feel comfortable with driving the car. Are they needed? Not necessarily. Do they give you a performance upgrade? Maybe, depending on your driving style. I was once told that racing is about 95% driver and 5%.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep.
It really is. I mean, I'm going to talk a little bit about my buddy, Ron Orcott, who we're memorializing this year in one of our memorial races. And he could take a brick. You put wheels on a brick and RC it, he could drive it and do well with it. I'm serious. There are some guys out there, there are some drivers out there that, they could do well with a piece of steel with four wheels on it. It's 95% driver, 5% car. But again, going back to the rules, again, maximum of 2S LiPo, nickel metals can be run in here. Any ESC, any brushless motor. I don't care about, I'm not worried about blinky mode, or you can put turbo in it, whatever you feel you need. But keep in mind, the track is going to equalize everybody, because we all still have to get around that same track, whether it's, tarmac up at the Boston Town Park or ungroomed dirt at the Chestnut Ridge Park.
Yep.
Same
thing with the back of Tom's, which I don't know if Tom's still working on the track back there this year or not.
Again, that's part of why some of the locations are to be determined.
Right.
We're still working a few things out. And that's another thing that I probably should have mentioned this in the intro, but we do two styles of racing with the Rally Rebels. We do a rallycross style. The only thing we haven't figured out, and if we ever do figure it out, it would be cool to add a traditional Joker lap.
Yep.
If anybody is familiar with rallycross, once during a heat race or a feature race, the drivers have to do what's called a Joker lap. And a Joker lap is an extended lap. And if they fail to do it, they receive a time penalty. So it's about strategy. Do you take the Joker lap early? Do you take the Joker lap late? I would like to figure a way to do that and be able to count everybody's Joker lap. But I haven't
be able to do that with the transponders too.
With the transponders, yes. But yeah, there probably could. It's just we have to look at the times and look where the longer laps are, because obviously the Joker lap is going to be longer.
Right.
So I might try to work that into some of the rallycross events that we do. But we also do a traditional point-to-point race, which is more like a traditional rally stage. Previous years, we've done that up at Chestnut Ridge. And that is a lot of fun. It's a lot of work to set up, but the people seem to like it. We usually run 2 or 3 stages, and I usually give everybody 3 shots at each stage, and we do the lowest elapsed time to crown the winner.
Right.
So, that, and again, that includes all the classes that I'm talking about here. But again, back to this car here. This is any upgrades. I had talked about, I don't know if you want to go to the upper camera here so I can show people what this is. These are the transponders that we use. Now, they are For those that are new to the group, I know I've been ordering a lot of these. They are $35. The guy I get them, I believe, is in Michigan. They make them. They're here, made in America. They're made with really nice flexible servo wire, which is nice. Unlike the MyLapse ones, which are made with the stiffest wire known to man, and they break if you look at them right. And then when they break, they,
I just want to let you guys know too, Dave has his set up so that his car seems to be faster than everybody. So even though he may be last, he's still first.
I'm still first in my own. I'm a legend. I am a legend in my own mind, Corey. But anyway, so yeah, we use these. They power right off your receiver, so you don't need anything special to power these receivers. They are $35, and I usually order them in blocks of 10. How I do it is I get 10 people that pay the $35, and I send out the order. I will be sending out an order again first week in April, and I still have 2 spots available for anybody who needs one, wants one. It is helpful to have multiple. I myself have a couple. I'm going to make sure the drivers on my team have more than one. Susan, Jess, and Sean will.
Well, it makes sense. I mean, instead of trying to tear one out of each car and then put it in another one, especially if you're running quite a few cars that day,
And the more you're doing between races, the more mistakes you can make. And if the transponder is one less thing you have to worry about, then that's going to benefit you in the long run.
How come Fields doesn't sell those?
Because they can't get them.
Oh man,
the guy does it direct. I mean, and
it's a cool way to get the market.
Oh sure. But and these are an infrared transponder. These work we use iLapse. We don't use MyLapse. We use it. It's a system's called iLapse. Software I think is lapse free, something like that. But it's basically a timing tower with sensors, and you go under the timing tower and it reads the stuff. And Susan's become very proficient at how to use it. She knows how to, get the race results off, put them on Facebook. She's going to work on putting them into spreadsheets so that the race results will always be there. The timing system is actually the timing system that we used when we ran for 10 years in Ron's basement, which I'll get into that a little bit when we talk about the who Ron was in the memorial races. But again, transponders $35. If anybody's interested, direct message me. You can contact me at the shop. We'll get them for you. We'll get them situated. And for somebody who's showing up for the first time, we do have a few community ones available as well. So if you don't have one and you want to come to a race, don't worry. We are not going to turn you away due to lack of transponder or whatever else have you. We will get you in, and we will.
And just to let you guys know, they ain't modified like Dave's. So.
No, they don't have the secret.
He's only laughing because it's true.
They did. Insert uncomfortable laughter here. So that's just some information on the transponders.
That's have one of those. Hang on.
You have one?
Oh yeah, I do have an annoying laugh.
You have an annoying laugh. That's great. That is great. Well, there's a difference between annoying and uncomfortable laughter, and I'm fumbling to get this body back on. I look really unprofessional right now.
Anybody that knows you, they'll
know. They'll understand.
They'll know what's going on.
If you know me,
They know what's going on.
They know what's going on here. They know what's going on here. I just fumbled.
Having a hard time sticking it in the hole, huh?
Yes.
Oh, you gave up. Okay.
I gave up. I'm just gonna move on, folks, because I'm just gonna be.
Once again, you talked about earlier about all the body clips.
About all the body clips, which happen to be collecting on Corey's table. Now, this is a class that actually Tom came up with the idea for this class when these were released last year. This is the brushed infraction. It is 1/8 scale. It's from Arma.
And it's a good idea because a lot of people get these and they don't know what to do with them.
Exactly.
They just go somewhere in a parking lot and rip them around and
exactly. And they come completely ready to run. They come with a nickel metal battery. They come with a wall charger. So I think for anybody who wants to dip their toe in our group, this is perfect because you can buy this. They are on sale right now at Fields Hobby. Well, can't see the thing there. Fields Hobby. It's upside down, but
he's a little confused.
I'm a little confused. The camera's backwards.
He's like, "Oh, if I point over here, why is it pointing the other way?"
Yeah.
Mike Kroll, shouldn't you be at work right now? Which rally car looks good?
Yes, which one?
Yeah, don't fill Dave's head
Yes.
full of
Keeping in mind that I built all of these and painted them, except for this one, of course. But it's so.
I would have took credit for that.
I did what this?
I would have took credit for painting that.
It's hard for me to take credit when anybody can just go to the shop and see that
maybe
this is how they look.
Maybe you could tell them, hey, I painted every one in the box. You get
Yeah, that's right.
Come on, try to give yourself a pat on the back here.
Okay. I want to break my arm giving myself a pat on the back.
Now, does the wing come with it?
Wing comes with it.
Okay.
So basically, these come completely ready to run. You get a transmitter, Spectrum transmitter. You get obviously motor. These have a 9-turn 570. The official name for these is the Infraction Mega 570, and they are currently on sale at Fields Hobby. They're currently doing a sale. I forget exactly how much off. Perhaps if Rick James is still watching, he could tell me how much.
Yeah, Rick James.
Off they are, maybe. But anyway.
Yeah, Rick James, where are you?
Yes, where are you?
We need to know this information. If I would have known that, I would have found it beforehand.
My bad. I should have again brought this to my attention. So again, there are some upgrades to these vehicles that are available. And again, I don't care what you do to the structure, but the biggest, most important thing is 2S LiPo, no greater than 2S LiPo. You can put any brushed motor you want in these things, although the 9-turn 570 that comes with it seems to be everybody's motor of choice. And this is rapidly becoming...
And it's a lot of motor, too.
Yeah, it's a big motor. And this is rapidly becoming my favorite class. These things handle really well. They're not overpowered. I'll show you a few things that I've done to...
How's the driver with it?
Well, the driver, again, used to be fast. But now he's only half fast. But anyway... again, with the overhead camera. So this is basically the layout. I run a 2-cell 5000 or 5200 Gens Ace.
That's a hot motor.
That's a hot motor. Yeah, apparently very hot motor. I did do a few things. All of us that have these cars, I know Greg did, Bert did, Tom did. We added the pivot balls, the aluminum pivot balls from Hot Racing. I don't know if you can see them. They're little red pivot balls. They go in the arms there.
On the tie rods and stuff. Yep.
On the tie rods.
Yep.
I moved. Now, normally they come with the speed control on top of the radio box. I did move it down below the radio box to kind of lower the center of gravity and kind of try to get more air over the motor. I added the aluminum motor plate, which does dissipate a little bit of heat there. You can kind of see it again. I'm confused with the reversing this here. You can kind of see the red aluminum that's on there. Again, any upgrades, the important thing is 2S LiPo. And again, you can add your own radio. Many of us have Futaba's, Spectrum radios. The only thing is they use a different protocol. They use the SLT protocol, and it will not directly bind with the DX5C, which is unfortunate.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, so if you do want to use a DX5C, you will have to add your own Spectrum receiver, unfortunately. Yep. So that's a little unfortunate, but again, you do have the opportunity. And quite honestly, the stock radio that this comes with does work just fine. Again, a great stepping stone into our group. These are not terribly expensive, even when they're not on sale. These kind of remind me of when short course trucks first came out.
Right.
You could buy a competitive short course truck for, I think it was under $200 and go out and race. You can use, as I said, you can use the nickel metal. I believe it comes with an 8.4 volt nickel metal. And even if you don't have a fast charger, we all come. I know I bring several. Many of the group leaders and group admins bring chargers that we will be able to use. Most of the places we go to do have power available, so there is that. But again, 2S LiPo is really my only rule with this one, and brushed motor. I don't care.
Right.
I don't really think there's anything more powerful than this motor, but Who knows? There might be
9
something
turn.
out there.
9 turn.
It's a
man,
9 turn. Yeah. For it being a 9 turn is a very torquey 9 turn because it's obviously the 570 can. So,
Right. Yes.
they really get these cars around really well, and they are a blast to drive. They are an extreme blast to drive. Okay, so that's infraction class. Hopefully, as we're getting on here, I'm clarifying a few things. And if you have any questions, I know that, not everybody was able to tune in today, but, you can direct message me on Facebook. I'm always also at the shop every day, but Thursday, every day we're open, but Thursday I'm at the shop. If you,
any questions, I have the link to the Facebook page in the description too. So,
and this will be the video. I'm sure will be linked to the Facebook page as well.
Yes.
So that I can watch myself over and over again and critique my own performance and lack of performance and whatever have you.
You're doing better than I am. I just kind of wing it.
Well, I'm kind of winging it.
I love the fact that you have the notes and you haven't even looked at it.
I think it's because it's my years I spent so many years being a teacher, and I would write notes and I would go over them and over them and over them. And by the time I came to do the lesson, it's like, okay, the notebook would be open and I'd be just doing my thing. So, anyway, moving on. I'm going to show you.
So what is the normal price of these?
I want to say they were $2.99 normally.
Which isn't bad.
No, is not bad, at all. Which is not bad at all. Again, for what they come with, the size. I use these tires. These are rally block tires that come on the infraction. I don't care. I know Greg uses the 11s, and I think Proline makes a set of tires. The name escapes me what the name is, but there are some road tires that you can buy for these. I use these because it makes it easy if we are doing dirt races and things like that.
Right.
So, that's going to be something to keep in mind too. You can buy other tires for this. I think there was something else I was going to add, but it has slipped my mind, even though I have the notes in front of me.
That's what happens when you get old.
Again, I'm here. I'm right here. Old age does tend to wear you out.
Once again, once you got to deal with questions and everything just kind of flies out the window.
It really does.
We'll turn off the cameras, and that's when it'll come to your mind.
Oh, no, man.
Son of a...
Now, I had mentioned, again, I wish I had an example of this, but I did mention another class that we're adding this year, and this was at the request of a few people.
We got Keith Mingle.
That's my buddy. Hey, Keith. That's my, there's a lifelong friend of mine. I've known him since I was...
I concur with the teaching, always seeking perfection.
Yes.
Man.
He knows I'm perfect, but...
Obviously, he doesn't know you well enough.
No. Well, he better. I've known him since I was 19 years old. That's my old buddy there.
I feel so sorry for you, Keith.
Oh, geez. But anyway, so at the request of a few people recently, I've decided to add, and again, I don't have an example, and I do apologize for this. I've decided to add a Tamiya M chassis class. Now, I say Tamiya, but there are other companies such as 3 Racing and I think MST make M chassis. Basically, what an M chassis is it's a 10th scale car, but it's to scale for smaller vehicles like Suzuki Swifts, like Miatas, like Karmann Ghia. The Renault Alpine is an M chassis, and they come in front wheel or rear wheel drive. We will run them together, so there's going to be 2-wheel drive M chassis are going to be in this class. 2-wheel or rear wheel or front wheel drive. 2S LiPo. Again, I should have just probably said that. That's a rule across the class. That's right. Like my only really stickler rule is 2S LiPo. Any motor, any speed control, any tires.
2S, to be honest with you, is all you really need.
It really is. It really is.
Especially if you got a tight turn track. I mean, 3S is just going to get a little...
It's going to get hairy. It's really going to get hairy. And ultimately, we have to protect the timing system.
Right, correct.
The timing system is strung over the track, and it is,
somebody going 3S, hitting that thing at full speed, oof.
Exactly. Hitting that thing at full speed is going to be ugly. And it has been. Some people have hit it even with the 2S cars, myself included. In fact, I actually broke my XV01 by hitting the timing tower on the first time we ever tested the timing system. It was on the day we tested the timing
How'd that
system.
make you feel?
I wanted to cry. In fact, I think I did cry. I may have crawled up into the fetal position.
I lost a couple of years off my life that day.
I was so disappointed in myself. And I failed to mention this with the infraction class. If you don't like the truck body, there is, the Arma Vendetta body will fit on it. They have a Nissan 2 series Nissan. I forget.
240,
240, I think.
280.
280, that 230, something like that. That Proline makes it will work. Again, the body must cover the wheels. And we'll get into, there's a couple classes where that doesn't matter, but for Group A, Group B, infraction, and M chassis, the body must cover the wheels. And the reason for that is, as Robert Duvall said in Days of Thunder, rubbin's racing. And sometimes there's rubbing and bumping, and with the body covering the wheels, we don't go sailing. And if anybody who's ever watched one-to-one rallycross, they're rough on each other out there.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that we're going to go out there and be rough on each other. We're all trying to be, ladies and gentlemen, about just being courteous to your other drivers. But things happen, and
the old pit maneuver happens sometimes.
That's what we used to call Ron the pit maneuver Orcon. But anyway, no, I digress. With the body covering the wheels, you don't have to worry about your car sailing off, into the rhubarbs, as we say. So, moving on to, if there's any questions about the M chassis class, again, I do apologize for not having one here, but we can clarify that. I can help clarify that by either, direct messaging me or coming to the shop and talking about it. Now,
you guys probably got something there anyways, ain't it?
We have had M chassis before. We've mostly had the MF01X, but I know we've had the M06, which is like the current, Tamiya has got, I think, 8 different variations of the M chassis. And
it sounds like them.
Yep. And the way it works is the odd numbered M chassis are the front wheel drives, and the even numbered M chassis are actually the rear wheel drives. So, something to keep in mind if you're interested. I know there's a few people out there that have them, that have asked me, can we run these? And I'm like, hey, sure. I'm not going to turn anyone away. So with that being said, we'll move on to the mini class, which I've decided this year, again, at the request of several drivers, to split the mini class into 2-wheel drive and 4-wheel drive, because the Losi family of minis is growing. This year, last year they added the JRX2, the mini JRX2. And this year,
I think we got one of them to give away for the event, April 16th.
Yes, for the April 16th event.
We got one of those. Yep, we got one of those from Performance Hobbies.
Excellent. So, so they're with the mini class, this is a 2-wheel drive. This is the Mini B, which is the coolest thing about this little guy is it is patterned exactly after Losi's TLR's 22 5.0.
More body pins.
Yes, more body pins for Corey. Chances are I'll forget them. I've referred to them the whole time we've been sitting here, but
don't worry, buddy. I'll sell them back.
I'm sure you will. So this one is brushed. Now they do make a brushless edition. Or no, I'm sorry. They actually don't make a brushless edition of the Mini B. They make a brushless edition of the Mini T, which also qualifies for the mini class. They do make a pro roller edition of the buggy, which you can add your own motor, speed control, servo, that kind of thing. Again, 2S LiPo. Again, that's all you really need for these things. Can be brushed or brushless on the 2-wheel drive. And for the 2-wheel drive mini class, I am allowing any 1/16th, 1/14th, 1/18th 2-wheel drive. The primary ones that you're going to find out there are going to be the Mini B, the Mini T, the Losi JRX2 Mini, and I know it's out there, the Mini JRX-T, although that's only out there in a limited run of 5,000. So if you happen to get a hold of one of those, I don't know if you want to be racing it because it is a limited run. Although Losi was kind enough to release all the parts to convert the Mini JRX2 into a Mini JRXT. So if you're interested in running that, that might be something you want to look at, is doing the conversion. Which is because they are.
This one come with the metal upgrades in the front, or did you do that?
Okay, so this one started life as a ready to run. So this one did not come with the metal upgrades. However, if you buy the Pro Roller Kit, they do give you, I believe they give you the metal pivot up front. They give you the oil fill shocks.
Okay.
They also give you the metal servo horn there. And I think they give you the front pivot there. They give you the metal front pivot.
Okay. All right.
All of the other metal upgrades I added here. I added the MIP. MIP makes a really nice set of what they call shiny CVDs for it. And again, I don't care what upgrades you add. This one happens to have a 1625 quick run from Hobbywing. ESC, it's got a stock motor. Stock motor, I think, is 47 turn. If you want to run brushless and you want a little bit more motor, you can grab the Spectrum Junior's Choice motor, which comes stock with the JRX2. That's actually a 42 turn motor. So that's going to give you a little bit more RPM. A lot of people replace the stock servo. This one happens to be a EcoPower 827 servo with this is again, I don't know if you can see it here. It might be tricky to see, but there is an aluminum servo bracket that Hot Racing came out with recently that I added to this car. And it is actually supposed to help you. I had problems for a while breaking servo ears. And this bracket is supposed to prevent that from happening. So I'm actually really excited about having that as part of this car. We'll see if that actually works. Again, Mini B, Mini T, Mini JRX2, Mini JRXT, if you so choose. There is going to be a four-wheel drive Mini class as well, because Minis primarily for the longest time were actually four-wheel drive. I remember back when we were racing RC18s in Lockport back in 2006. That was four-wheel drive. This came after the original Gen 1 Mini T. And it seemed like subsequently any Minis that were released after that were the four-wheel drive format. So if you have a Teton, if you have a Traxxas Rally, if you have a Traxxas Pre-Runner, if you have that new 14th scale Ken Block Hoonigan car that's out.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
I think Ed Thompson resurrected an RC18T. So the Mini four-wheel drive class will be where, we'll be running those. So again, that was at the request of some of the guys in the group that we could, if we could do something with the four-wheel drive Minis. And again, I am not going to turn anyone away, and within reason, I'm not going to say no. I don't want to get too crazy with the classes because it just makes for a long day, but
yeah, you got too many classes. Right. You're there till 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock at night.
I don't want to create, I want to be able to have people come and have a good time, but then, go and enjoy the rest of their Sunday.
Right.
Most of these, all of these events are going to be on Sundays. They're going to be in the South Towns, and they're going to start at 10 a.m. So
that's I notice a lot with the events is if you get there at a certain time, there's always a 2-hour window.
Right.
So, if things can try to stay on point, as far as, people getting there on time and get the event started, because like I said, I know we all miss each other and want to have a good time, but I noticed that a lot, from my events, the same thing. Everybody comes in and you try to have some kind of organization. All right, this is what time we're going to leave or go on a trail. And then next thing you know, it's 11 o'clock and nobody's on a trail yet.
Well,
but
And I mean, that's the thing too. It's like, if I had a permanent facility, it'd be one thing, but everything we do is temporary. So
correct.
Yeah, I say get there at 10, but racing might not start till, 11:30 by the time we get everything set up. And then of course, the cool thing about what we do is that nobody has an advantage, even me, because there is no permanent track.
Right. And the track, it seems like every time you guys go somewhere else, the track is set up differently.
Yes,
anyway.
exactly.
So it's not like something you can just learn and be like, all right, I know what's going to happen next time. So
exactly. And that's what's cool is even me, as an admin, I have no advantage because the track, I don't even, and last year, Ryder did most of the tracks, Bert's buddy there.
Right. Well, you're a terrible driver.
I'm
anyways.
a terrible driver anyway, so it doesn't matter. But Ryder did most of the tracks. So quite
Yeah, that's what
honestly,
you were telling me.
yeah, I didn't even know what the tracks were going to be until he came and
Because he
laid them
drew
out.
them out or something.
Right.
like
He
that,
would
didn't
he would draw
Yep.
them out and then lay them out. And then I would say, okay, guys, go practice while. And half the time I wouldn't even get a chance to practice because I'm busy helping Sue set up the races.
Correct.
I'm signing people in and the like. So everybody is on the same plane.
While we're on that
You know.
subject, is there something that people can do when they first get there that can help make things easier to get started? Like come and sign in? Or...
Come and sign in. That's the most important thing. See, now, those people that own transponders, and here's another reason why, guys, it is advantageous to you to buy a transponder, because you come, you sign in, we can immediately click and drag your information from the transponder tables into the various classes that you're in, and it just makes setup so much easier for us.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to make sure that we can, get on that subject too. If there's something that can keep, so you're not there all day, if there's a even flow of what we can do or what everybody can do to kind of help the flow of the racing. And
exactly.
So obviously you heard him say it. I mean, as soon as you get there, if you could come sign in, if you have the transponder, so that, he can get you all logged in and kind of make things go a little bit smoother, because throwing the events, as you know, is a lot of work, know, and especially if you don't have a dedicated spot every time. There's make sure you have all the sticks cleaned up, stones, everything brushed. And so anything that can make things flow a little better is.
And with that being said, you also have to remember too that we are guests wherever we're going. It is not our environment. We are guests.
Correct.
And it is by the grace of whomever operates the places that we go that we're able to be there. So, and we have a great community, and I've not had a problem with this. But again, I just like to remind people, particularly if you're new, try to keep, leave it as you found it.
Yes.
Leave it as you found it. Try
any
to
garbage,
keep things clean, any garbage. Yes.
Yep.
And and the same thing goes for, downtown with the crawler park.
Yes.
Anywhere we go as a community, let's show people that, hey, we're responsible enough to have these events and to be able to use these locations, and just leave it as you found it.
And the same, like the crawler course, I went down there the other day. I'm not going to say it was any of the crawler guys. I knew it was windy, so there was a bunch of garbage around the rocks piles and stuff like that. If you do see it, don't walk past it. Just clean it up. There's a garbage can right there.
Yeah.
Like I said, I have a feeling it wasn't anybody there because it was so windy. But while I was there, I was picking up garbage, and people were watching me, and which is good. People can see that there's people there taking care of things and cleaning things up and making sure that it's not a mess and an eyesore. Exactly. That's when we lose things.
Right. Exactly. And with that being said, as I said, we have a great community.
Oh yeah.
And the guys that come to our events, they dive right in. They ask, "Hey, Dave, is there anything I can do to help?"
Right.
And Tom knows this for a fact. Tom knows how hard it is to put on one of these events, because he had to fill in for me. Him, Bert, and Greg had to fill in for me at one of the races last year that I wasn't able to make because of a family emergency. And, so I'm answering questions. I'm helping Sue sign people in. I'm doing this, that, and the other. If I get, half a lap on the track of practice to make sure my car's not going to blow up out there, that's a lot, So, we have a great community, and again, I appreciate it. And none of this would happen without our community.
Oh yeah,
none of this would be possible without the guys who come to the events and do their thing. So, with that being said, let me get into the last class that we have. Again, I'm leaning over as the cars get further and further away from me.
I think that's the last one, though, that you got to lean over, ain't it?
That's the last one, yes.
How many body pins are on that one?
There's 7. How many? There's 1 body pin on this. 2 body pins on this.
2? Okay, so at least I know I got a couple more.
Right, you got a couple more. Hopefully I remember to clean these up as I go. It's just easier just to toss the car aside and worry about it later.
That one's a little bigger, so that one we might have to zoom out a little bit more.
So one of the things that happened last year, actually, and has happened before, is I know that there might be people out there that say, well, I've got 4-wheel drive buggy, or I've got a 2-wheel drive Rustler, or I've got a Slash, or I've got a Traxxas Rally. I may not have a car that fits into your other classes, but can I come out and play? And absolutely. We have what's called the Baja class. Now, the Baja class is kind of an open class. I had mentioned that there are going to be two classes where wheels covering the body doesn't matter. The first is, of course, the Mini.
Right.
Second is going to be the Baja class. You can do it either way. If you have a body that covers the wheels, great. If not, great. It is kind of a run what you brung class, but again, it still fits under that 2S LiPo rule. Now, the biggest, most important thing, and I'm sorry if this puts people off, but nothing bigger than a slash. I'm trying to keep the vehicles to
not only that, but the damage something the slash can do.
Exactly.
That thing goes full steam ahead, hitting the unit for the transponders,
and that's the bottom line is protecting the transponder unit, because that was something that we have, and I'd like to keep it going as long as I can, and ultimately I want to protect the transponder unit, and to have somebody out there with an E-Revo would be kind of scary. So, again, nothing. No X-Max. I mean, you can play around off the track all you want, because a lot of guys do that, which is fine. But on the track, as part of the competitions, I'd like to keep it to a nothing bigger than a slash. So this here, again, just an example. Now, as far as the Baja class goes, 10 scale, 2-wheel or 4-wheel drive. So your Rustlers, your Slashes, your Bandits, your Stampedes, your Traxxas Rallies, your TTO2Bs, like this happens to be. This here is a 4-wheel drive buggy from Tamiya. And the cool thing about this is it's actually based completely on a TTO2. It's just done with longer arms, 2.2 wheels and tires, and it's done up like a buggy. Again, I've got a bunch of different upgrades on this one. And again, upgrades don't matter. You can put whatever you want on it. This one happens to be brushed. Now, again, Baja class is brushed or brushless. We're just going to mix them up and let the track sort them out. So, kind of like, that kind of thing. So we're just going to mix them up, put them out there, and let the track sort them out.
So it's like that car that's making a noise and you turn the radio up and just, hopefully it fixes itself. Got it.
Pretty much. It's, it's just a have at it class. This one, this is my Baja class car. This one I'm reserving for the point-to-point races, actually, because I've got the spiky sort of off-road style tires, so I'd like to keep this on the dirt. I think I would wear these out very quickly at the park.
Yep.
If I'm able to find a 2.2 like road tire that will last longer than, say, a traditional prime or smoothie tire would last on that, I might be into getting this into the Baja class. But I primarily keep this to the off-road stuff. Again, anything goes with these cars, as long as it's 2S LiPo. Brush, brushless, doesn't matter. Okay. So again, if anybody has any questions on that, contact me. Class questions, I'm always available at the shop. I try to answer my DMs as quickly as I can. Sometimes I'm really busy and can't get to them.
You can also hit up his OnlyFans site.
Oh, God. I told you that was supposed to be a secret.
Secret's out.
Secret's out. So, yeah. What do I look like? RC Sparks? But anyway.
Nice name drop, buddy.
Oh boy! Hope you don't get dinged for that.
Yeah, no, you'll be all right. I think we said worse.
Okay,
we had a podcast about marijuana. I think we'll be fine.
Oh, okay, fair enough. But anyway, so Baja class, pretty much anything goes. No bigger than a slash.
What did Jay Espinosa say? Teton?
Teton fits in. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Now I read it. Okay.
That fits into Teton fits into the 4-wheel drive mini class. Okay. Again, the mini class body does not have to cover the wheels. There are some minis out there that do. The Rally, the pre-runner / SST. I'm still deciding whether or not to put the 4-wheel drive slashes in with the minis because they have so much bigger of a motor than your traditional minis. I mean, your traditional minis have like a 380
they're nasty quick too. Yeah,
I think we're going to keep those to Group A and Group B like we've done in the past.
Stupid Josh and Ed.
Yes.
I love when they get at it though, man.
Oh, man.
It is a good race.
It
and
really is.
It's always one of them has to make a mistake.
Yes.
One mistake, and that's a good race.
And that's a lot of the way a lot of our good races have gone.
Yeah.
It's like,
Well, last year I think I only came out to what? One for like
I think you were at the Chestnut Ridge one.
Yeah, and I could only stay a little bit.
Yeah.
Which I'm planning to change that this year, so it's going to be great.
Well, it'll be great to have you out. It'll be really great to have you out.
How about the Mini B? You should have came here earlier, Jay.
Yeah.
We already discussed this.
We already discussed the Mini B.
What's wrong with you?
Which is happens to be sitting right here. It's still visible. Up, reverse. It's still visible on the table. Yes, the Mini B is allowed, along with the Mini JRX 2, Mini JRX T, and any other 14th, 16th, 18th scale Mini.
Go ahead, say it. Just rewind this video when it's done.
Yeah, just rewind the video when it's done. I feel like I'm in class. When I work with the kids. And what'd you say, Mr. Klima? Well, if you'd have listened the first 5 times I'd said it. No.
What'd you say?
If you'd have listened the first 5 times I said it.
When'd you get here?
Where was I? I've lost my.
So you already got the Baja class.
Baja class dates. Dates are all posted on the Facebook site.
And they're pinned at the top.
They're pinned at the top of the Facebook site. They're also on WNYRC. I know it looks to me like Chris is going to be doing a monthly update on WNYRC.
Yes, I do the same thing on the Reckless RC website, recklessrccrew.com. I put the list of the events as well. If you do notice an event that's not on there, please let me know, because we already know that you're in 5,000 groups on Facebook, and I can't manage to see everything.
So yes. So yeah, the dates are pinned to the top.
Yep.
And locations, as I've said I think I said it in the pinned post. Locations are still being worked out. Some locations are set.
So what I can do too, let's see here, present, let's share the screen, share screen. Let's do this too. We can also, so you guys are going to see all my Facebook posts, just to let you guys know.
Oh boy. Anything that can get you in trouble?
Just certain pictures here. Don't worry about
that.
All
right. Well, remind me when those certain pictures come up and I'll close my eyes.
All right. So as you can see, as you guys can see, dates are right there in front of you. You guys should be able to see it since I shared the screen.
Yep. And again, it's on the pin post. April 30th, coming up fast and furious. A little more than a month now. Actually, isn't a month from today?
Yes.
A month from today. It'll be a Sunday, 10 a.m. We will be at the Boston Town Park. Now, that will be a test and tune. We're going to run 7 rounds this year, 7 races. They call them rounds in rally. And I'm toying with the idea of a point system now, some sort of point series. The first race, the test and tune, is just that. It will not count as a point series. So it's just a chance for us to blow the dust off the cars, get the winner off them, get them moving again.
Are you going to try out the transponder?
We are going to run the transponder. We're going to run it like a traditional race day, but
nothing's really going
to count for points if we do decide to do points.
But at least people get an idea. They can dial in their cars.
Yes.
You guys can dial in the transponder units, make sure everything works.
That's a big part of what we're trying to do. Make sure the transponder system is working right. Make sure all the new transponders are in the system. Now, there is a transponder order that we ordered a few months ago that we have in our possession. We have the numbers in the system. We just have to then attach names to the system. So new transponders will be distributed that day.
Gotcha.
And plus names will be put in the system. For your transponders, guys, it's really, really helpful to have clear windows. That is something I forgot to mention when I was showing you the transponders. As you can see, many of my cars have clear windows. The only one that doesn't is the stock infraction body. And what we did with that real quick, what I actually did was, I don't know if you want to put on the overhead camera here. What I actually did for this was I ran.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Look at that. Oh, it feels hobby.
Yeah.
Again, got to get the plugs in. Got to get as many plugs in as we can.
Never met those guys.
You know, that guy Dave. I hear he's a difficult person.
Yeah, I don't like him already.
Oh, wait a minute, that's me. Anyway. So anyway, I run an extension outside the receiver box. Plug the transponder into the extension. Run it.
Now, is there an interference issue as far as underneath the body?
It depends upon how thick your paint is, because it is an infrared system.
Okay.
If you have real thick paint, or in this case, stickers over the windows, it may or may not pick it up. I know people have told me that it picks it up in the Mini B with the stock body, which doesn't have clear windows. People have also told me that it picks it up in the infraction when it's under the body. But I tucked mine behind the rear window there. I run the wire through the hole. It's protected by the cage. If the truck rolls over, you're not going to damage it. It's helpful to have a piece of hard-sided Velcro. Generally, we put the soft side Velcro on the transponder. But again, if you have any questions about placement of the transponders, that is kind of also what Sunday is about. I usually bring Velcro. I usually bring rubbing alcohol to clean the surfaces, clean up the transponder surface, so that everything will stick really nice and get that all squared away. So, any questions about transponder placement, let me know. But it's helpful to have. Never a dull moment. It is helpful to have clear windows or mounted out somewhere outside of the body where it's not going to be damaged or torn off.
Makes sense. Yeah, yes. That was a good point to make, because you already know what'll happen. A lap won't count for some odd reason, and everybody will wonder why. At least we know.
And we try to keep an eye out as best we can for missed laps. We can manually input missed laps and things like that. But again, your transponder being in a clear area will be extremely, extremely helpful. Clear windowed area or outside of the body if your paint's too thick. And again, we can test this Thursday. On the 30th.
Just say
we can test this.
This Thursday or next Thursday?
No. The 30th. We can test this on April 30th.
You don't get out much.
I don't. I go to work and go home. But anyway, so we'll test all that placement. Now, there are a couple of very important dates within our calendar. Again, not all the
we'll jump back over here so we can pinpoint them.
Not all the places are set in stone. We're working on that, but the two dates that are important to myself, and also to one that's important to both Greg and myself. First of all, I want to talk a little bit about June 25th. Last year, we did a race for Ron at the Boston Town Park. We will be returning this year to the Boston Town Park for the race for Ron Orcott. Last year, that happened to be the race that I wasn't able to attend. So unfortunately, due to family illness, I wasn't able to attend that race. So I wasn't able to, memorialize Ron as well as I wanted to. So a couple of things. First of all, who is Ron Orcott? Now, obviously, I'm not sure. I know Greg knows who he is, but many people within the community don't know who Ron was. Now, Ron was one of the first people I met in this community. I've made a lot of friends over the years, a lot of great friends. And Ron is one of the first people that I became friends with back in the Transit Speedway days. I had raced prior to Transit Speedway a little bit at Niagara Hobby, but when Transit Speedway opened, I believe it was 89, Ron had been the first person I'd met. And even though I'd raced before, I was racing a new type of car. I was racing a two-wheel drive pan car at the time, NASCAR style cars. And personally, I didn't know what I was doing at all.
Do you still know?
I still don't. But anyway, still don't. But didn't know what I was doing. And Ron kind of took me under his wing a little bit. He was my mentor. He was really my mentor. And really, there was a small group of people. And it was Ron, it was John Schmiel, another buddy of mine, another lifelong friend, Dave Hill, and this lady, actually, Sally, who raced with her husband. We all would sit together. We all would pit together. And, they taught me a lot about everything from, the best way to keep the batteries in the car, to how to set up tweak and how to set up spring rates and the difference between how a carbon fiber axle works versus a titanium axle, when to use certain compounds of tires, things like that. So I learned a lot from those guys. And, from 89 to I think it was 95, we had Transit Speedway. As a matter of fact, my first win, the first race I ever won.
The only race you ever won.
Yes, the only race I ever won. No, I had my glory days. They're just way far behind me. The first race I ever won was against Ron Orcutt. And I'll never forget that day. I remember it like it was yesterday. We used to race on Friday nights at Transit, and we ran, the traditional format, just like we do with the timing system. We run 2 qualifiers and a main. And I was having an awful time in the qualifiers. I actually ended up breaking a front axle on my car. And I was a little behind the 8 ball at the time because I didn't have a lot of money. And I was running a car that there weren't a lot of parts. There were parts available, but the shop, Transit Speedway, didn't carry
it. Yeah. Yep.
So I ended up having to super glue. I was running a Bolink Eliminator at the time. And I ended up, which is basically now RJ Speed.
Right.
Bolink has become RJ Speed. And I broke the front axle. Actually, it had pulled out of the plastic steering block. And I glued it back. I actually ended up using super glue to get it back together. And I had terrible qualifiers. And Ron and I actually ended up qualifying. He didn't do so well either in qualifying. He and I ended up qualifying in the same main. And we get out on the track, and the go tone sounds, and I get out in front of him. And he's chasing me, and he's chasing me, and he's chasing me. The whole time I'm sitting there going, please, wheel. Don't fall off. Please don't fall. I'm like trying to focus. And let me tell you, it was the longest 4 minutes of my life at the time. Just like, please, car, don't fall off. And, that was my first ever race win, was against Ron Orcutt. And it was at that point, it was like a turning point for me, because I had now officially outperformed one of my mentors. And that was kind of a cool moment, And as time went on, I got to become more competitive with the people who were mentoring me. And it became those back and forth races, much like you see with certain members of the rally group.
Right.
And it was just great. And, Ron and I, we raced at Transit for a while. And then I went away to college. So I wasn't so involved in club racing as much as I was just involved with, I'd still mess around with the cars. I'd do things, I do parking lot stuff and things like that. But I wasn't as involved with racing because I had gone away to college. I was very busy and that. So I believe it was the early 2000s, maybe 2003, there was a place in Williamsville, the Epic Center. It was one of those sports complexes. And I think it was a couple of guys, Tony Anastasia being among them, who used to run WNYRC.com, which was a message board before Facebook. So before Facebook,
the old forum days.
The old forum
days.
Back in the old back in the old forum days, they had WNYRC.com. As a matter of fact, there's a plaque in the back room at Fields, a thank you plaque from because I guess Fields had sponsored them at one point.
Do they sponsor your races?
No,
I wouldn't. Yeah. Best thing for Jay.
Well, they could, but anyway.
It's bad enough he's got to pay you, let alone
sponsors.
Yeah.
No comment. But anyway. A bunch of those guys had gotten together, and I at the time I was working for Brookfield Country Club, which was not too far down the road from where the Epic Center was. And I used to golf on Mondays, and I was actually I was going to golf with a bunch of friends from work, and I drove past the Epic Center, and I saw a sign that said RC Racing coming in November, and I'm like, what? Really? Now mind you, I hadn't club raced for a long time.
Right.
And so I went in there, and I inquired about it, and they said, well, yeah, we're having like a test and tune kind of, get used to everything coming up this Thursday. So I happened to be off, and I went down to check it out, and the first person I run into is Ron. Ron, John, all the guys that mentored me back in the Transit Speedway days were at this Epic Center test and tune, which was really cool to reunite with that crew. So that lasted about 2 seasons. And again, I had picked it, not to sound, arrogant or conceited. I had picked it up again. We were right back to where we were right before Transit had closed, back and forth. I believe Ron won the first championship that season.
And the thing that stinks is you look back at this and you think of all the good places, all the cool places, and now what is there?
It's all gone. And it's interesting that you bring that up, because I had said this in one of our drivers' meetings. Tracks do not last long. We saw that with RNL. We saw that, prior to that with Glenwood. The guys who run the tracks, they get burned out. They just,
Transit, haven't heard that place in 30 years.
Yeah, Transit Speedway. Yeah, that was where it all, that's where it all started for me. That was like a mecca back in the day. I mean, they had a giant asphalt oval, which kind of resembled Darlington Speedway. They had a dirt oval track in the infield of the off-road track of the oval.
Yes, if that was the one on Como Park Boulevard.
No, that was on Broadway and Transit. So it wasn't too far from Como Park Boulevard, but it was on Broadway and Transit. I believe it became it's now called Discover Diving. It's now, I guess they sell diving stuff. And the track that was out behind there was 450 foot. It's huge.
You could dive in Buffalo?
I don't know.
I didn't know that was a thing here.
I didn't either. But the track out back became a paintball arena for a while.
Oh, really?
And they tell me, I don't know, but some people have said that asphalt track is still buried back there. That they just basically, when the place closed, they tore down the walls, tore down the driver's stand, which was also the timing shed, and they just pretty much buried everything. And there's rumors that all is still buried back there. And
it's like the drag strip in Niagara County.
Yeah,
it's still there. It's just grown over.
Right. Exactly. Like most abandoned speedways.
Right.
Like and Nazareth Speedway, for example, in Pennsylvania. It's all just grown over.
And the thing that stinks is, like I said, you had so much to do. And the thing is, you would assume there would be more now, because if you think about it, there is a lot to do. That's what, kills me about PA. You had the Oak Hill Scale Trails.
Yep.
And then they had the indoor racetrack and the outdoor. And then another thing is, now they're gone.
Yes.
Like all these great places are just dissipating.
Yes.
They come and go within a couple of years. And it's sad,
Transit went away, and then for a while there was a track in Brockport. Back when I was racing in the 90s, 80s and late 80s, early 90s, you could almost race every night of the week at a different place.
And I think, wasn't Hobbytown had a thing on Saturdays too in the parking lot?
Hobbytown was doing parking lot racing. Yep. Back then you had Northside Hobbies in Buffalo that was was doing racing. Transit Speedway. Lockport, actually, the Skateland on Lincoln Avenue in Lockport back in the day would open up the place Wednesday nights, and they'd lay Ozite race, the good race carpet out, and we would race there. A couple of times. It was really kind of cool. So all of that has gone away, and for a while then, the Epic Center came back, and fortunately, and it was only really summertime. It was after the Epic Center had gone under that I had met my, unfortunately, another friend of mine who passed away, Steve Harris. He had a backyard dirt oval track, and I had gotten into dirt oval and met a few other people through that. And I have been active, like super active in RC again since about 2003. But Ron passed away due to COVID in 2021, and it was a shock to me, and it was a shock to a lot of people that knew him, and he was just the coolest guy. And I want to do something very, something to remember him by, and to like sort of say, hey, Ron, I'm thinking of you wherever you might be.
Right.
And, I still love you and still care about you, my friend. So what we're going to do on the 25th is we're going to do a traditional race, rally cross at Boston Town Park. But there's going to be some special things that we're going to do. First of all, like when After the Epic Center had closed and after Glenwood had closed, Ron opened up his basement for 10 years, from about 2010 until right around COVID hit. He had a little 26-foot oval on the right on the floor of his basement. And even that improved over the years. It started as just a piece of like weather stripping, and we would race around this little piece of weather stripping. And then, he had built an infield, and it kind of grew to be this little cool little track. And, if you search my Facebook enough, you will find pictures of this track. And it was just a handful of us. It was the same guys who had mentored me back in the Transit Speedway days. It was Dave Hill, it was John, it was Ron, and a couple of guys would come and go over the years, but that's where the timing system comes from.
Right.
He and John had purchased the timing system because, again, we started counting. We were just counting laps, just like we did with the rally group.
You got to start somewhere.
Exactly. He had purchased the timing system, and one of the things at his races, we would race every Monday night without fail, unless, one of us was sick or whatever. And every Monday night he would have coffee and donuts. That was his biggest thing. He would have coffee and donuts at every race.
How come you didn't bring me any?
Well, sorry. I guess I'm not as thoughtful as Ron, apparently.
I could tell.
I know, right? But he would have coffee and donuts at every race. So we would run our qualifiers. We would run the traditional 2 qualifiers in the main. And we were racing at the time. We were racing these little 124 scale Losi cars. We would custom make these little Losi micro short course trucks and rally cars into dirt oval, asphalt, dirt late models and dirt modifieds. And he had come across, I think he found them at Ollie's. They were these little Revell made these things called RPMZs. They were like poor man's mini Z, but they were
X mods.
Yeah, they were like X mods, kind of the same thing, kind of like mini Z X mods. We ran those. We would grab 25th scale model bodies of coupes and stuff like that.
Right.
We would run like old school coupes and modifieds, and we had a blast. We would run our 2 qualifiers. We would go up and have coffee and donuts, and we would do what we call bench racing, where you sit and you talk about your racing memories. Remember that time back in 2000 whatever that I beat you, and back in the 80s when I beat you, and I always brought up how my first race win was against him, and that's where Ron earned the name the pit maneuver, because and we used to joke because we like when we first started, we would joke about, he's like, Ron would lose a race, and it's like, oh, let's do another one. He would lose a main. You guys want to do another race? We would keep racing until Ron won a race. Sometimes we were there till almost midnight. It was
Sounds
crazy.
like I would get along great with it. Come on, one more. Let me try it. One more.
One more.
Battery's
One
dead.
more.
Son of a.
Shoot. But no, in all seriousness, it was a great time. It was a real great time. And, obviously it had to end when we went into, when we went into COVID lockdown. And I guess for me, the saddest part is, like, I had seen him. He had come into the shop after we had reopened, but I always, not long before he died, I had always said I was going to call him, see how he's doing, and we got busy and everything. And, I'll never forget the day I had heard he passed. My friend John, who was part of the whole Monday night group, he was another one of my mentors. He called my cell phone at work. Now, John never called my cell phone at work. He knew if I was at work, if he needed something, if he wanted to see that we had something in stock, he would call the shop.
Yeah.
And when I saw his number, because I was doing some eBay sales for him, so we would talk a lot, but he usually would, if he needed to get a hold of me, he would wait until after I was done or whatever. So he never called my cell phone when I was working. And when I picked up the phone and saw that it was John, I was too busy to answer the phone at the time. My heart just hit the floor because I had this
feeling of something. Yeah.
Something was wrong. And I didn't want to call him back. And I finally, we slowed down for about, at that time we were still at the heart of our busiest time. During those years that we were crazy. And I took a deep breath and I made the phone call and I said, hey, what's up? And he goes, did you hear about Ron? And I said, no. He goes, he passed away. And I said, well, what happened? And see, Ron had cancer. He had leukemia, beat that. He had esophageal cancer. He beat that. and COVID took him. And that was, to me, I just, I had to keep it together, but at the same time inside I was hitting the floor just so.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like one of my best friends, one of my good friends, I'd lost. And I kind of sort of deal with this regret of like never calling him. Not, during that time, just to see how he was doing. And but
you sit there and beat yourself up about it.
Right.
And the thing is, it happens to all of us.
Yeah.
There's always, you always run into that. I should spend more time with this person.
Right.
I should spend more time with this person. You never spend time with that person. And then next thing you know, those are the phone calls you get, and you're like, you know what? I screwed myself.
Exactly.
And it happens to everybody.
Right.
I mean, I guarantee everybody that's watching has that same problem at least once in their life, or will.
And it's just,
time gets in the way. You
Right.
get older, things happen. Wife, kids, whatever happens.
Yeah, exactly.
Things happen.
Exactly. Life does get in the way, but and with that being said, I wanted to do something special for Ron. To remember him, to memorialize him. So the first thing that came to my mind when I thought about this was coffee and donuts. So there will be coffee and donuts at the race on the 25th. Probably coffee and Timbits, because I'm probably going to have to get a bunch, and that stuff. And I'll get a couple of it'll be Tim Hortons coffee, Tim Hortons donuts will be available that day. And if anybody doesn't drink coffee and has some special request, non-alcoholic request, Corey.
You're the one that was admiring the bar underneath there.
It's like a wet bar underneath this table here. But anyway.
Can you believe this guy's drinking this stuff out of a water bottle? There is something wrong with this guy. I'll tell you one thing.
I know, right?
Man.
But at least I'm not slurring my speech. You got to give me that. Yeah. I'm still able to maintain.
You still got a half a bottle there.
Yeah, I'm still able to maintain a certain level of decorum.
And you haven't peed yet either.
And well, not that you know of.
That might peek out wet.
Yeah, right? The other thing we're going to do, like Ron was always big on, giving out prizes. He would, if you race, you should get something. That was kind of how he felt. So he would go like in and out. He was always going to thrift stores, and he would always give away these little prizes to winners of his races. Like, we get these little like screwdriver sets. Sometimes he'd give away a lottery ticket. He's given away stuff I still use. He one of his races, those headlamps that they sell at Harbor Freight, and you can use them when you're working on small things. I still have that, and I still use it to this day.
I had so many jokes about that, but I'm
sure you did, but I know you thought better of it. Yeah, you thought better of it. So sort of, that's another thing with
Listen, almost every one of my vehicles has one of those in there, so because I'm always worried it's going to break down on the side of the road and I'm going to need it. So
exactly,
I know how handy those stupid things are.
I mean, there's still little things he gave away, and he would give away lottery tickets. He would do trophies. He did a point series, and 4 or 5 guys. You'd be surprised at how serious we took this thing. We still had a blast. We did more laughing than anything else, but. He would actually give away these really cool trophies. And one of the coolest ones I ever got from him was when I won the modified championship. It was the trophy was about yay big, but he had taken one of those little Hot Wheels cars. I think it was called the Grease Gremlin, that little modified Gremlin that Hot Wheels had. And he put it on top of there, which I thought was really cool. And it's got, Rapid Ron's RC Speedway, which is what we called him. Because his nickname we used to call him Rapid Ron. It was another one of his nicknames, Rapid Ron Orcutt. So we're going to do door prizes, because if you race, you should get something. And how it's going to basically work is everybody that signs up is going to get a ticket. Ticket's going to go in the bin. We're going to draw for door prizes. I'm going to have a few things. I'm going to come out of pocket for some stuff. I've already had some donations, which I'll talk about in a little bit. I am, lost my train of thought. Help me out here, Corey. I have this all in front of me, and I'm losing my train of thought. No,
I don't know what you had.
You don't know what I'm thinking.
I didn't know what you had, so I can't help you.
Alrighty then. I'm going to have. I'm going to
keep it clean or dirty. Well, I can tell you a bunch of different.
Yeah. Well, considering that the weight of the subject we're speaking of,
yes.
I prefer to keep it clean.
Yes.
No, I'm going to come out of pocket for some stuff. We're also thinking about some trophies, maybe some gag gifts, prizes. Some different things. I just realized what I said, and don't take it the wrong way. Gag gift,
I was trying to keep it clean.
I know you were.
Yeah. Well, there, way to go.
I said that and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm sitting next to Corey. Yeah. Anywho,
You know what's in his mind.
yes. So unfortunately, the timing system. It's a blessing that we have it, but I certainly didn't want to get it the way we did,
Right.
because after Ron had passed away, Ron's wife had given me a lot of his RC stuff, but John and Ron own the timing system together,
Right.
and John wanted to sell it, give half the money to Ron's wife, and give obviously Ron's share to Ron's wife.
Right.
And John came to me and said, I want you to buy this timing system. So what we did essentially was we got the community together. And again, this was another example of how great our community is. And I can't say this enough. We had a lot of donations from the community to be able to purchase the timing system from John. And one little cute little story here. I know I'm getting off tangents here, but I remember the first.
I told you it was going to happen.
I know.
I told you.
I know. I remember like the first race weekend, we actually used the timing system. The timing system has a voice. It talks. It'll say like, 3 minutes remaining. The running order is 1, 2, 3. Certain programming things. I think you can change the voice and things like that. But it's rudimentary. But it does have a voice.
Every time somebody that crossed the lane, I'd make a name for him. Lap number 3, 4, and then a goofy name.
A goofy name, yes. But and it was just hearing the noises of the timing system again for the first time in 3 or 4 years. It brought me right back to those Monday nights, and it just took me right back.
Oh yeah.
I was like, wow.
It's amazing how one thing does that too.
Yeah, how one sound or something takes you right back to
or
it.
just grabbing something in your hand, and all of a sudden all the memories come back.
Right, exactly. And it during that sort of driver's meeting, I was kind of like, okay, don't lose it. But so anyway, that's going to be the race for Ron. That is going to be if I decide to do a points series, that is going to be a points race, and that might have actually, funny enough, again I'm getting off on a tangent. Maybe a double.
You would get off on it.
Ouch. Let's keep this family show, please.
Yes.
Getting off on.
Yes.
Going off on a tangent. Ron was always big on double points races. He would always pull these double points races out
Especially probably when he was in the lead.
Yeah.
When he was a double points.
Or when he needed to catch up. Especially if I was ahead of him. We're going to do a double points race.
My kind of guy.
So we might actually do the race for Ron as a double point, as a double points race kind of a thing. Again, when I get all this worked out, I will post on the site there, on the Facebook site.
Like you said, I have that. It's June 25th.
Yep.
So you guys can see that. I have it up in the on the screen now. Corey, you're going to have a table at the swap. See, this is the random questions I'm telling you about. I am going to have a live streaming table and just a show off table. Nothing crazy. I'm not selling anything. I'm really just there to run everything because I'm going to be all over the place. I ain't going to have time to do anything. My wife will be selling some T-shirts and maybe some hoodies and stuff, depending on how fast I can get things done. But all right, back to Dave before he loses his train of thought.
Yes, the other important date will be September 17th.
Okay, I'll go back to that.
That's going to be the race for our friend Bob Stanley. Bob Stanley, just a little.
That one, okay.
Just a little bit of background on him. I met him actually as part of the group, and he had been in and out of fields as a customer. He's a good friend, a good buddy of Greg Arnone's. Bob
had been friends.
Yeah, apparently he does. I was, I was a little thrown by that.
That's what happens when you're a good-looking fella.
Yes, exactly. He's got that hairstyle. It just drives women crazy.
He's got that perfect eye level to. Nothing. Never mind.
Again, family show, Corey. September 17th, race for Bob Stanley. Bob Stanley, a good friend of Greg Arnone's. He had been involved in RC since the 80s. He was a group member. He was really enthused about our group. He was really I don't
remember if I met him or not.
You might not have. He mainly came to the Boston Town Park events. He was he started getting back into RC kind of because of the group. Him and Greg had been doing some running together,
Right.
and he just was super, super enthused about the group, and it was just so cool to see. And he would dive in, he would help us with track layouts, and he would do, just what he could, and just like the rest, just like the rest of the community. It was real cool. He would do what he could to help us in that, and he unfortunately, and we still really don't know. Last year, it was right after the Fall Brawl Rally in September. We ran the rally on Sunday, and then Greg texted me, I believe it was Wednesday morning, that Bob Stanley had passed away. And, it was one of those shockers.
That name sounds so familiar, too.
You may have met him. You may have seen him in the shop or heard Greg talking about him, because he had, like I said, he was part of the group. And that, but it was just such a shocker to all of us. And Greg had approached me and said, "Could we do a memorial race for Bob?" And actually, it was at the Halloween Havoc event when I had told the rest of the group what had happened to Bob. And Greg had said, "I'd like to do something. Could we do something?" And I said, "Absolutely, absolutely, hands down." And we're going to do a lot of the same things for Bob's race that we did for that we're going to do for Ron. I had asked Greg, is there something special that you want to see at Bob's race? And Bob was big on pizza. So we might actually see if there's a place around the Boston Town Park that would deliver pizza to us. And we'll do some pizza, and we're going to do some door prizes. That's the other thing I forgot to mention about Ron's race. And we're going to do this again at Bob's race. We're going to do a 50-50 raffle. Ron always ran a 50-50 raffle when we raced at Transit Speedway. Every Friday night, he was running around selling 50-50 tickets. So we're going to be doing a 50-50 raffle at both races. We might do some pizza if we can at Bob's race. We're going to do door prizes. We'll make it happen. We're going to do door prizes. We're, again, working on possible trophies, or at least, if not trophies, maybe prizes for the winners.
We'll talk to Alex too, because Alex works at Carbone's right around the corner. So
okay.
When he comes by later on, we'll have a chat with him.
All right, sounds good. So I really, really hope. I personally feel like this is going to be our best season yet. I mean, I am astounded at how much we've grown from the grassroots, hand counting laps, to now having a timing system, to now having a full-fledged.
And I think that's one of the biggest things when they see that something is growing in a positive direction, and having like the memorial races and stuff like that, it shows that you're putting potential into something, and you want to see it continue, and I think that's going to be a great thing, to the point where you're just going to keep growing and growing because of it.
Yes.
I
mean, this is, it started out being my little baby, but in a lot of ways, the group belongs to the community.
It's true. It's true. Because without the community, you're nothing. You're really nothing.
Exactly. And again, I thank so many people. I couldn't do this without Susan. She has been absolutely amazing when it comes to what she's helped me with.
I see her hustling those days.
Oh yeah, she hustles. She does not stop. She runs the computer. She, posts all the race results. She helps with track layouts, clean up afterwards. She participates. She races it, and she has taken to this hobby more than I could have ever expected. She absolutely loves it. She absolutely loves doing it, and I love her to death. And I'm so thankful and so grateful for her.
But you were telling me how much you love me more.
Shh, Corey. Oh, gosh. I can't keep any secrets here. No. So, couple of things I just want to say before we wrap this up here. With regard, I want to thank a few people other than, obviously the thank yous that I've given already. I want to thank Mark Prouty, who has become a sponsor for the memorial races. He donated a couple of his really cool little 3D printed stands that you can use for the mini bees. So we've got those to give away at each of the memorial races. I want to thank Matt Reynolds, who is going to be 3D printing some inner fenders for TTO2s that we're going to give away also. I want to thank Chris Perry of WNYRC, who has purchased a transponder for us to give away at these races, at the memorial races. So, and if anybody else is interested in donating, sponsoring, whatever have you, yes.
What do you need?
Whatever you feel. If you've got something you want to donate as a prize, that's great.
I'll come up with something.
Okay, great. If anybody's interested in donating, that's be wonderful. Like I said, I'm going to come out of pocket for some stuff I already have, some stuff that we've purchased. I purchased stuff as I've seen. I actually purchased something from when we were at Cavalcade of Cars that I'm going to give away. So, if anybody's interested in donating, I think these races, I think this season is going to be epic. I know that there have been, like I said, there's been a lot of me just being at the center, working at the shop. I hear a lot of, I know Ed Thompson's gunning for some people. I know Bert's gunning for Greg.
I've seen Bert drive. It's not very good. So
oh no, but I think Bert's better than I am.
Well, there's a
well.
I don't even race, and I'm better than.
Well,
you.
Yes, it's true. There's a lot of. Again, as I say, I used to be fast, but now I'm only half fast. But no,
he was never fast.
I was never fast. The other people were slow.
Now, let me ask you this.
Yes.
Is there going to be a charge for racing this season? Or I know some people are going to ask that too, so we'll get that.
So we'll continue with the $5. I call it a donation.
Correct.
It's a $5 donation. And a lot of that, again, covers cost of track supplies. I mean, we buy tape, we buy marker cones, things like that. It just goes right back into the community.
And the thing is too, it's you have to realize that during like the memorial stuff, it covers so you don't have to keep coming out of pocket.
Right, exactly.
That's where the money goes. It goes back into it. Like
right.
a lot of the times when people are talking events and they put input, and it's nothing against anybody.
Right.
When they put input, they don't realize what it takes to put on some of these events, and that's why this year I would rather go to events instead of put them on.
Yeah.
Because it's my first time actually being able to get to events this year.
Right.
And I would rather participate than to spend all my time behind the scenes.
Right.
You know how it is behind the scenes, trying to get everything organized. And
I know exactly how it is. And for me, it's a labor of love. I like I said,
it's fun. It is.
It's
a blast.
It is an absolute blast. And I want to keep it going as long as I can. And I mean, in my mind, I have goals, but it's just in my mind. Nobody wants to know what goes on in my mind.
Danny, let's put his up there so you can see it.
Danny Bates.
No, it's Donnie Bates.
Oh, no, it's Danny Bates.
I know. The first time I seen it, I didn't look at the big screen in front of me,
yes.
And I looked at my laptop, and I thought it said Donnie.
Says, thank you, Dave, for everything you have done for the hobby in Western New York. Let's not overlook that. I appreciate that, Dan. I really do. And you know what? Like I said, we have such a great community, and I love doing what we do. I mean, I love my job, and I've said that hundreds of times. I love all the people that I get to meet, get to work with, and race with, and be a part of these events for. And this is for you guys. This really is. This is all for you guys, and I'm going to keep it going as long as I can. And as long as people keep showing up and keep supporting the group.
It can only grow.
It can only grow.
Yep.
It can only grow, and that's very exciting.
To be honest with you, it is. Like when we first started Reckless RC, it was the same thing. We started with like 10, 15 members, and then it went to 100, and we're like, all right, cool. We don't expect it to get any bigger.
Mm-hmm.
And then it goes up to 800 members, and you're like, and over 800 members, and you're like, well, I didn't ever expect this. And same thing with the cookout when we had almost 100 people show up when I was expecting 30.
30, right? It's like I'm bracing myself for the memorial races because I think it's going to be big. I really am. I really do. And I'm really excited and I'm really glad to have so many people on board. I'm really glad to have, again, I thank you so much for having me on.
Oh, no problem. That's what that's what this channel is for. It wasn't for me to just show off videos and stuff. It was for something bigger. And it took me a good year to realize that.
Mm-hmm.
And now that I've been hustling on it, it seems to be fun for everyone. Tom getting on there. Who would ever thought that Tom would have a blast?
I know, right? I know.
Now he loves it.
Now we just got to get Jason on here.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to try to get a picture of him, and I'm going to try to get a cardboard cutout.
Life-size cardboard cutout of Jason Field.
We're going to have the mouth cut out.
Yep. Have some. Oh.
I just want to see how long it would take you to realize what I was going to go after. JJ.
Oh, the innuendo. Yes.
Okay, can I bring my MT project to show? Listen, if table rental or whatever, I mean, like I told Eric Weber and that as well. I mean, if you want to bring something just to show off, I will have tables put to the side. Once again, this event is for charity. This is not for everybody just to come and hang out and try to get something for free.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be a bad person and say something like that.
Well, it's for the kids after all.
Correct.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, I mean, any kind of donation, anything like that, you know, if you want to show something off, that's cool. But just remember, at the end of the day, this is for charity. I'm already out. I don't even, actually, I'm not even going to say how much I'm out on this event out of pocket. But I mean, and once again, I don't care. This is for kids. This is for charity. Ask anybody that knows me when it comes to charity. This shirt means nothing. This house means nothing. Car means nothing. All this computer stuff does not mean nothing. I would give it away in a heartbeat to help somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
As most of you guys know, I never ask for anything. If anything, I just keep giving. And so same thing. I will have tables set up to the side for people to just bring things to show off, because once again, there may be new people coming out that never seen any of this. Especially with the Variety Club, they deal with a lot of people, a lot of different things. And once again, you know, some of the Variety Club people may be walking around and looking at things and seeing semi trucks, seeing construction equipment, seeing some of this stuff. I know you can't be there because you said, screw Corey, you got better things to do.
Wow.
But no, I get it. I get it. But like I said, if you know, there is something cool to show off, I'm 100% with it, because like I said, what you may bring out might trigger somebody else to get into the hobby, which is perfectly fine. So yes, there will be extra tables for people just to show things off. So back to Dave, because this day is about him, not me. Okay, go ahead, Dave.
Well, I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, as far as what I wanted to talk about, I think we've covered all bases.
Yes.
I really, really, again, thank everyone in the community that has supported me over the years. I personally never thought this would grow like it is. I just thought this was something we just maybe have a handful of guys who, you know, want to just play around with Tamiya cars or whatever.
The thing is, there is so much to do in the community, and there's really not much. I mean, people go out and bash, you know, X-Maxes and slashes and stuff like that, but there's really nothing organized to actually use this for what they're intended for. And you know, this is a great thing.
Exactly. And you know, it's funny because I've had this conversation with Tom, and I've had this conversation with a couple other people. For people who want to experience what club racing is like, to go to a track for the first time can be intimidating as all get out.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I remember.
But the thing is, I mean, you, like I said, or we both said, the community is such a good place that when you go out, like, people are there to help. They're there to give you some insight.
Right.
They're, you know, nobody sits there and goes, no, don't talk to me, I'm racing. No, there's nothing of that. It's always everybody pitching in to help the next person.
Exactly. And you know, and I've said to people, I said, there's no secrets with my stuff. You want to see what I'm running? Come look.
Right. Exactly.
There's no secrets with my stuff. I will show you anything I can. I have mentored people, and you know, I've kind of carried on sort of like, you know, what I'm doing here. Like Ron was my mentor, you know, John and Dave and Sally. I just pay it forward, I guess, is kind of what I'm driving at here. It's kind of my way of paying it forward and being a mentor to maybe the next generation, whatever, you know. And that's literally how I am. I mean, obviously, you guys see all the different things I'm doing on the channel as far as showing off what I do to my rigs and so on and so forth. I mean, yes, I don't professionally race, but I mean, if I can get somebody like the 57 Chevy. Somebody was just asking me on TikTok the one day, you know, how come the back end is doing such cool burnouts in slow motion?
It's because I made a 2-wheel drive. He just bought one, didn't know he can make a 2-wheel drive.
Mm-hmm.
So I point him in the direction of the video, and it kind of shows what to remove. And,
Yep.
and like I said, I mean, if I can help somebody else grow into the hobby and do something cool, then, there's no secrets. I mean,
no.
They're toy cars. I mean,
and there again, and we come back to what we said at the beginning of this video is like, I don't care if you're at our level, you're at the professional level, you're whatever. The bottom line is it's toy cars.
And believe me, if you do come, please don't have that attitude like you're high and mighty. That's like the worst you can possibly do is think you're the best of the best. I know 99% of everybody is perfectly fine. They'll share, they'll talk, everybody laughs and jokes. Everybody gets along. But if you're one of those guys that are high and mighty and just think you're there to 100% win and then get mad at the end of the day, this is not the type of community for that.
No. There's no place here for and I don't exaggerate because I've actually seen this stuff. There's no place here for throwing radios, kicking cars across the track. Gosh, what else have I seen?
I've seen people get so mad that they whip a truck, about 20 feet. Oh, F this, F that, because they got outperformed by something that was a turd.
Yeah.
I've seen it in real racing too.
The funniest one I ever saw, we were racing out in Lockport. We were actually racing minis, 16th, 18th, 14th scale stuff. And this one guy got so mad at his truck. It was at the time, they were Kyosho Inferno STs. They were a little 18 scale. They were cool as hell, but he stomped on this. He was stomping on this truck. And I'm like, and then the kicker was he went to kick it, missed the truck, his shoe come flying off and got stuck in the wall. I was sitting there just rolling because this guy looked so just stupid. I mean, really?
Years ago, it was the same. Like it doesn't matter if it's in RCs or if it's in real life.
Yeah.
And I've seen it in both, and it just brings me back. Getting on this subject, it just brings me back now. I used to kill people drag racing with a pink Chevy Beretta, and it used to kind of tick people off that they were losing to a front wheel drive pink 95 Chevy Beretta that was 100% not stock, but it kind of looked it. And so I raced a Fox Body Mustang. A guy I don't know the guy's name because it was on a Tuesday night. It was a run what you brung kind of thing. And I figured, you know what, let's take a pink Beretta and put nitrous on it and rebuild the motor to kind of look factory. And so we win the race. And this guy gets around, lined back up, and now he's going underneath the hood. Slams the door, looks at me, mumbles something. And I really didn't care because I won. It didn't matter.
Well, yeah.
And so he's adjusting his carburetor. And then what does he do? He goes in there and he starts dumping on the pedal. And then looks at me and I'm like, everything all right? Because me being a nice guy, if there's a problem, I want to run you again at 100%.
Yes.
So I'm asking him, if there's an issue, can I, you need a hand with something like that? And he was like, no, F you, blah, 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 blah. He got all ticked off. I'm like, are you mad that you lost to a pink car? Because now he's, mother effing me, and so I got to give him the jab.
Of course.
He goes back underneath there, adjusts the carb again. To me, sounds like it's running perfectly fine. Kicking down perfectly fine. It's not running rough. Well, he keeps tapping the throttle, wide open throttle. What happens?
Blows the motor.
Exactly what happened. All of a sudden, antifreeze everywhere. And me being the nice guy that I am, and I walked over and said, I think you broke something, and then walked away. But once again, it goes to show, no matter where you go, you have that one person.
There's always that,
we will try to help you, even if you are that person, but try not to be that person.
And
I don't want people see people break things and stuff like that for something stupid reason.
And it happens at every level. It even happens at the pro level.
And it's sad. I've seen YouTube videos of
at the pro level. And here's the thing: when you're at the pro level, there are people that look up to you.
Yes.
Guys like Dakota Fend and Ryan Cavallari and Ty Tessman, and even going back to when I was growing up, I looked up to guys like Joel Johnson and Cliff Letts and Brian Kimwald and guys like that. And I've heard and seen, professional drivers throwing fits, like Ty Tessman, for example. I guess he races, or his dad helps him out. One of the races, he was yelling at his dad. I mean, why? I mean, I get it. You didn't do so well, but ultimately, if you don't do well, you either didn't set up the car right, didn't do your maintenance, or you, as the driver, made a mistake. So when it comes down to it, you only have yourself to blame.
Right. And to be honest with you, I mean, if that's, whether it's you're a pro driver, you're not a pro driver, I mean, at the end of the day, you should be doing this because you want to have fun.
Right.
You should be doing what you love to have fun. And if you're not like doing all of this, I have fun doing it. This is what I love to do.
Yeah.
Why do you think I put so much energy and time into it? And guess what? None of it ever gets me mad. I mean, even if a light takes a crap, or a $2,000 computer I had to just buy so that I can make sure, what I mean? It's all stuff that, it happens. Crap happens.
Exactly.
No matter what.
I remember, the second indoor race we had with Tom. I broke every car I had. I broke every car I brought with me that day.
That sounds about right.
And yeah. I broke both the Mini B and the Mini T. I actually had to borrow a car to actually be able to compete that day. So, but that
goes to show the community.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Everybody is there to have fun, whether there's a point system with a trophy at the end or what. We should all be in it to, like I said, I mean, me personally, if I raced, I would be the same way. If I would give my car to see somebody else win.
Exactly.
And it's the same thing. Like all my events, I don't think I've competed in any event I've ever done because I would rather see everybody else have fun.
Well, I mean, and that's the thing. Yeah, I drive in the races, but I don't care if I win or lose.
Right.
I just do it to have fun. There's, in my opinion, bashing is fun, whatever, with these cars, but there's nothing compared to what it feels like to be on a closed circuit track where you're trying to,
that competition, that friendly competition is what really gets you.
Yes. Even being out there by yourself is fun. Trying to catch the right corner, trying to go better. How can I get better going through this corner or whatever?
Right.
So I compete, but I don't compete to win. Let's have fun.
Exactly. And I think 90% of the community is the same way.
Absolutely.
Because I never see anybody. I mean, like I said, I've seen it a couple times, and I'm not going to say no names, but like most of the time we go out with the same people. It's always the same thing. Everybody's having fun. Everybody's helping each other. If somebody's battery's not working, somebody will give a battery just to, or a charger.
Yeah,
and that's what I like about the community.
Exactly. Exactly, and that's great. I mean, the 3 years that we've been doing this, we've only had one issue. One person that had to be excused, as it were, from the group.
I know a few of them that had to just see themselves out.
Yeah. I'm talking about in my group.
I can probably imagine who it was, but we're not going to get on
No, we don't need to name drop. It's not the place for it. It's not the forum.
They know who they are. Oh, gosh. It's just so sad that we can both laugh about it and just.
I know. And in our heads, we know exactly who we're speaking of. But that's okay. That's okay.
But once again, we're not here to bash others.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. We're here to praise the community, I think, in a lot of ways.
Correct.
Because again, without them, Reckless wouldn't exist. Rally Rebels wouldn't exist. You know, and they've been fantastic and phenomenal helping us out. So keep it up. As long as you keep showing up, I'll keep making what.
What else we got?
Oh, I just made some notes about some of the grudge matches there and talked about how,
everything that we talked about.
Yeah, everything that we talked about, how Ed says he's coming after Greg and Bert. Bert's coming after Greg. And
well, Ed said he was coming after people at the polls too, and he came after people at the polls. So I'm kind of curious on what he's going to be up to for the rallies.
Did he? Was he successful at the polls?
Oh, he was nasty.
Nasty, really?
Yeah, he took no prisoners.
Oh wow.
Yeah. He was.
I do know that he's recently purchased another Traxxas vehicle to compete with us. So we'll see.
Yeah. I hope Josh comes out because, like I said, I mean, those two going at it too, man.
Oh yeah, there's some good races, man. I'll tell you, some of the best races I saw last year was Bert and Greg. My
Really?
goodness, like that last race, that last Group A race we did, the last Group A main, last one of the season at Halloween Havoc last year. Bert was right there. He was absolutely right there with Greg, and Greg had to. Greg will even tell you he had to run a perfect race to keep Bert off him.
No kidding.
He had to literally run, and Greg's been doing this for many, many years. You know,
That's just going to show that Greg's getting old.
Yeah,
man.
Man. Well, next year I'll qualify for the 50 and over class. So you know,
man, you're gonna get those AARP cards.
Yeah.
And everything.
Qualifications for the class, you must show your AARP card.
You're getting that 50-cent coffee at McDonald's.
That's right. And I'm gonna take care. I'm gonna get all the perks I can.
Anything else you got?
It's pretty much everything. Also too, I'd mentioned Jess. I think she's going to be one to watch. Sue's daughter, Jessica.
Really?
She came on board. They moved down here. Her and Sean. I consider her my daughter as well, obviously.
Right.
But she, her and her husband Sean moved down here from Kansas last year, and she participated in the Halloween Havoc event. And I lent her actually that Corsa Gray Yaris that I showed for Group B. That's the car that she drove last year, and she had never driven a hobby grade RC car before. And I'll tell you, she got around that track with a little bit more practice. She's going to be one to watch.
Awesome.
She and I actually started building her car last week. She's the one that's going to be piloting the, I think it's a 67 or 69 Corvette.
That car's going to be slow now because you're...
God. Oh, what am I going to do?
Just find somebody else to build it.
No, it is going to be fast.
That's good.
Yes.
Friendly competition.
Yes, friendly competition.
Yes.
She's going to be one to watch. That's Greg, as I said, watch out for
Bert,
Greg,
Ed.
Ed and I have a friendly thing going because he would always talk trash. He would come into the shop. He's like, "Yeah, I'm going to be counting up all the butts I'm going to beat this week." I said, "What are you talking about, Ed? You still haven't beat me." And unfortunately, as I say that, he did beat me at the Halloween Havoc event last year. So I can't even use that anymore.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome. But that's good.
Yeah,
good. That's what we like to see.
Yeah.
Like everything growing and in a positive direction. That's the best part.
And I mean, it's just more. Like I said, these get-togethers are more ball busting than anything else.
I think that's why I like coming out to these events, because it's just funny. And then the best part is 90% of the time I do video and I don't have to race and I can keep throwing jabs at everybody.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't even have to worry about losing because I know I'm not racing. So it's even better.
That's the one thing I need next year is maybe a microphone and a speaker, because when I call the races, and by the end of the day, I'm talking like this.
You need to pre-record yourself for every race.
Well,
you just hit play.
Yeah.
Class B, get up to starting line.
Oh my! When something happens, oh boy.
Well, that's not supposed to happen. But yeah, so as you guys can see, there's a lot going on as far as the rally races. I know a lot of people have been asking me for the dates and this and that. Obviously, you can see the dates are posted on the Facebook page. They're pinned at the top. Obviously, Dave will update them as we go. At least you guys have a heads up for a couple of the events. And
dates are set in stone. Locations, another story. Locations will get there. Right. And obviously, there will be, if something happens and it rains, we will notify. And that's another thing I failed to mention, that if it does happen to rain on a rally day, we will move the event to the pavilion at Boston Town Park. We're going to try to use that. I mean, as long as it's not being rented out. We did run into that a couple times last year where we had some rain and tried to use the pavilion and it was rented out. But, if the pavilion is open, if it's raining, that's where we'll go. If not, we'll reschedule the event.
Now, do you have to worry? You probably have to worry about the transponder unit too. So, right?
Well, as long as we're under the pavilion, we'll put it, in a situation where it won't get wet.
Let's say this now.
Mm-hmm.
So, if it does have to get rescheduled, please do not get butthurt, because some people get kind of mad when things happen.
Yes.
And once again, when you're running the transponders and stuff, and that's actually looking out for you guys too, because you guys are purchasing the transponders. Right. So that's also a positive thing. If they can reschedule to a drier day, you're not out money if something does happen. Right. So like you said, though, running some of them you may have to run on top of the car, and if you can avoid any damage, the better.
Yeah, exactly. Good point. I'm actually glad you brought up that point. Yes, do not get butt hurt if an event is canceled.
I'm just looking out as you mentioned. People are buying the transponders for $35.
Absolutely.
That's money down the drain if something does happen.
Right.
So in theory, if somebody said, it's raining, let's not cancel, and I just spent money on a transponder, I would hate to see something get damaged and have to spend another $35 because deep down inside, I am cheap.
Well, yes.
So
frugal. I prefer the term frugal. Shrewd, as it were. Here's the teacher in me pulling out all the.
Hang on, let me get my dictionary.
Yeah,
Wikipedia. What does this mean? But
synonyms. That's the word I was looking for.
Susan just said she can't wait for the first race.
Oh, hi, Sue. Hi, honey. Hopefully that was Susan, my honey. But
that's right. I didn't say nothing. I just wanted to see if you would just go ahead and just randomly say something. But that's not. No, yeah, that's not. She's not related to you, or she's nobody to you. This is not who you think it is.
Oh,
no, I'm just kidding. It is. I just want to see you. That's why I didn't put it up on the screen. I just want to see your facial expression. But yes, that is who you think.
Well, thank you.
Okay. But yeah, so if there is a rain date, he does have a backup plan.
Yes.
But once again, I just wanted to mention that because I've seen it in the past where there was some bad things being said over a reschedule. And I just wanted to make it a point to know that, especially this year with the transponders and everything, I would rather, me personally, myself as well, even though I'm not racing, I would not hate to see somebody get mad because, the transponder stopped working because it got wet or something like that. So,
and, and especially if it's a race you plan to do a live feed from, it's not going to be too helpful to your equipment.
Right. Correct. Yeah. Obviously, if we went underneath the pavilion, I can just pull out the other cameras and just get footage. So it's not a big deal. But like I said, I would just hate for anybody to spend $35 and then get upset that they got to spend another $35 on something that got damaged because, and you think about it. When you're racing, these things are moving, they're kicking up water. Things are getting wet, you know.
Yeah. Especially the four-wheel drives,
Oh, yeah.
Because they're kicking up from the front and the rear. And you notice that, if you got a lot of loose dirt, your four-wheel drives are going to get a lot dirtier than your two-wheels.
Right. And then if the ground's a little damp or something like that, you know that mud is sticking,
Oh, yes.
And like I said, and if it sticks on a transponder or something like that, you'd hate to see a lap not getting counted and somebody, sitting there kind of complaining that they lost a lap.
That they lost a lap, yes. And then they get, mad at me and
like I said, we know a lot of the normal group that, cares and they don't, see anything happening and, they don't get mad about things that get rescheduled. Obviously things happen and we have a good group. So this isn't intended to you guys. It's just a precaution to let you guys know if it does get rescheduled. It's probably because it's looking out for the best interest in you guys.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because it is, and as I said before, it's about the community.
Correct.
It really is about the community.
And I would hate, for somebody to go out on a rainy day and something bad happens and it throws off their whole mindset as far as, oh, that was a waste, now I got to be that, And I don't want to see that happen to anybody.
I don't want to leave a sour memories.
Correct.
Or sour taste in anyone's mouth.
But yeah, that was fun. Informational.
Absolutely. Again, thank you. And
We love you.
we love you.
Did you hear that, Susan? But it's always a good time.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, definitely a good time. Definitely a good time.
So when you have more information, I will post it on the website as well. So
Okay. Yeah.
It's up there. Obviously, keep up on the page for the dates and if something changes, so on and so forth. Did that light just flicker, or am I losing my mind?
I didn't see it flicker.
I'm probably losing my mind.
Who knows?
You got anything else to share?
It's like I said, I think I've covered all my bases here.
2 hours and 10 minutes. Yeah, I think you did.
Yeah, that went by fast. You didn't even realize.
I told you that's why we realize you don't realize how
you don't realize how fast time flies here.
Guy brought a one subject notebook completely full and wondering why it took 2 hours to get
exactly. But alrighty,
we'll post this because
yeah, definitely.
Here, let's see here. Therefore, we'll put it up because we didn't post up our last one. Thanks for everything you've done. I don't know if that's you or me, but I would
both,
go.
Why don't we just say it's both of us?
It's the whole community. It's all of us working together as a team.
Yes, I definitely think that's what she's referring to. Is the entire community.
And thank you
for
always helping. I know a lot of people don't see the back end of it, and I know how much of a pain in the butt it is sometimes. So thank you for keeping track of the scores, helping with the transponders, and organizing.
Absolutely.
So thank her back.
Couldn't do it without you. Thank you, honey.
Yes.
Couldn't do it without you.
We love you.
We love you. And Tom as well. Do not want to forget that man.
Yep.
Tom has been absolutely amazing in what he has done for me and the help he has given.
And the best part about Tom is I think he already knows it. I don't know how many times we thank him.
I know.
Even for the dumbest things.
I know. I know.
He could give you a piece of styrofoam for one thing and you thank him like a million times.
I know, right?
But
he's a class guy.
Yes.
Hands down. He's just an absolute class guy and a asset to this community. An absolute value, as are you, to this community.
Well, thank you.
You are welcome, sir.
And so are you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
You're a terrible salesman when you come into the store, but everything else you're all right at. What do we got here? We got some Keith. He said, great show. You both are great. Let's see here. We got JP. Thanks, Dave. The rally is always an awesome time.
Thank you, JP.
And Susan said, both of you. And like I said, I to be honest with you, let's one more time. Let's just thank everybody.
Yes.
One more time. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Thank you so much for tuning in.
The channel wouldn't be growing the way it is without everybody. The rally group wouldn't be growing. The Reckless RC name wouldn't be growing. Like I said, thank you, Tom. Thank everybody for tuning in. I'm glad we got a lot of the information. I know it was a long 2 hours, but at least we covered quite a bit. So you guys can, if I knew how to do the timestamps of each thing, I would go back and do that. But I don't really know how to do that yet.
You'll get there.
Yeah,
you'll get there.
But again, just scroll through, and if you need to know about a class, I mean, obviously Dave did a great job describing it as well as showing off the vehicles to help you get an idea of what to run. So once again, thanks, Dave, for coming on.
Thank you, Corey.
And I always hate trying to figure out how to end these.
Well, we'll see you all April 30th. I mean, I think that's probably the best way to do it.
Take off your shirt.
That ain't happening. No one wants to see that. As I said before, Corey, this is a family show.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks, guys.
Take care.
Take care.
Just end it with that.